So this guy you're seeing here is known as Old Taker. If you search TikTok for Old Taker, OLD, Old Taker, you will see him, and of course many other Old Takers. And what is an Old Taker? Somebody who has been into fraud and made money from it, and then all of a sudden he lost all his money, and now he's broke and he's unable to make any more money from it. So in the case of this guy now, he's out in the streets, he's broke, and he's dropping motivational quotes in the streets. So now that brought me to this point. Assuming that, let's say you are broke, okay? Assuming you suddenly made 100 million naira in US dollars, that would be $100,000. It just suddenly, something you did or something you didn't do suddenly landed $100,000 in your account. How would you use it? The reason I'm making this video is for some other people, you know, not necessarily people into fraud, but anybody else, so that you don't repeat mistakes that will bring you back into poverty. The thing is that if your knowledge of your bank account will always pursue your financial knowledge, not general knowledge, but financial knowledge. That's why a professor that is very good in mathematics can be broke. Every month he's struggling hand to mouth. He's going on strike to increase his salary, because even though he knows a lot of maths, the amount of what he knows about money is low. So what I'm passing to you now is what you will not read in any book, and you will not they will not teach you in university. It's street knowledge. So if you suddenly get 100 million naira, what are you going to do? Before I say that, click this share button here to share this video, so that when I release any other video you will see it. Then click on this plus sign to follow me. Under my picture in my profile, you will see a link there if you want to learn tech courses. So if you make 100 million naira, first thing you should not do is buy a brand new car. Don't you ever buy a brand new car in your life unless you are bloody rich. There's no advantage in owning brand new car of a latest, this is 2024. I don't know when you will be watching this video, but if they produce a car in 2024, there's no advantage of buying it. No, none. All right, unless you are so rich that you don't really care. So even a car of 2023, you don't need it. Mostly you need cars from 10 years ago. The reason is that those cars have been driven and tested. So people know, if you go online and Google cars and their reliability, I've taught how to do this before. You will see that certain cars on certain years have certain problems. There are years of cars that are totally bad, and people are advised against buying cars from that year. And another way you will know is that when you go to the car lot, that particular year will be cheaper than the year before and the year after. Some years are known to have combustion problems, transmission problems, whatever problems. Do you understand? So buying the latest one, it has not been tested, you don't know. So it's always a risk. So you buy a fairly used vehicle. Now there's local used vehicles that have been used in Africa, and then there's foreign used vehicles that are used in countries where the roads are good. We're talking about Australia, we're talking about even Dubai, UK, United States, and so on. These vehicles that are used where the roads are good, they are just as good as new. So I would advise you buy a foreign used vehicle. Now when you buy foreign used vehicles, there's no vehicle you're going to buy as long as it's not brand new. There's no vehicle you're going to buy that will not have at least one problem. That is one of the things that come with it. Like a vehicle I once bought some year like that, it had when was that? Some year ago, it was like 7 million naira. So but when I bought it, I noticed that it had gearbox issues. When I went for them to fix the gearbox, they told me that it cannot be fixed. They just have to change the gearbox, okay? So to change the gearbox, I spent about 750,000 naira to buy a new gearbox and fix it. Now remember, that was 10% of the amount I used to buy it, the car. Now ever since then that I changed this gearbox, I have not repaired any other thing in this car. It has been functioning perfectly fine, and it's good as new. Now, did I waste a lot of money? No. Remember, the car is 7 million, all right? And then I spent 750,000. That's about roughly 8 million naira total. But if I had bought this car brand new, the brand new one of this car is around 30 million naira. Are you seeing? So around this 30 million naira, should I have blown 30 million naira on a car? You see that the 8 million naira I spent was much smarter. And if you compare the car and the brand new one, they are exactly the same. There's no difference. You understand? The only time you suffer really well is if you buy a locally used car, a car that has been used in roads in Africa that you know that the roads are not good. The car will have 100 problems. But the ones from abroad, they're always good. Okay. Now, instead of you buying a brand new car for millions, 30 million naira, 50 million naira, especially if you're buying the expensive ones like all these SUVs and stuff, instead of you blowing 50 to 60 million naira on such a big car, do you understand? Buy a fairly used version of that car. Same thing. And don't buy anything that is beyond Toyota products. If you're going beyond Toyota products, end up with Honda. Toyota, Honda, Acura, Lexus. Toyota owns Lexus. Honda owns Acura. These four brands, your car should not pass them because these are cars that are guaranteed to last. They don't spoil. And within these cars, you will always see the high-end ones if you want. All right. Now you've bought a car that is affordable, that looks really good. Your car problems are solved. Even if you're buying SUV, your car problems are solved. Now you focus on house. Don't start building your own house. Biggest mistake many people make. Small money lands and then they lay foundation. The house will choke up somewhere on the lintel level. Your house will hang there because it will suck all your money and now you're trapped financially. So what do? You rent. Okay? So instead of building a house that would have cost you 80 million naira to put down, if you want to rent the same house in a better location in the city, you will not rent it for more than 5 million naira. In some places, of course, 10 million per year. So if I spend 2 to 5 million naira per year on a house, I still have a lot of money left. Remember, we spent about 15 million naira on an SUV, fairly used. You spent about 5 million naira on a house per year. So 20 million naira is gone. You see, now you still have 80 million. Of course, some expenses, because you have to move out from your old neighborhood to a new one. Some properties, family and friends, helping everybody. At least 5 million naira is gone. Now 25 to 30 million naira, you are settled. Now you have at least 70 million naira cooling in your bank. And life is good. Do you understand? So what do you now do? You start looking for either of two things. The first one is whatever gave you that money, you want to double down on it. You get? So let's say you did some business and you got a contract and then you supplied the contract and boom, $100,000 landed. Now you're armed with 70, your war chest is now $70,000, which is 70 million naira. You can now use that 70 million naira to double down, look for more contracts, make more calls, arrange more meetings, double down on that part. Whatever has worked once will work again. Just double down. Another way, let's say you receive that money through donation. Like we had a woman in Nigeria that posted something about cooking for her husband. All of a sudden, people started sending her money. I don't know how many millions they sent her. Okay? She moved out of her old neighborhood. So let's say that's the kind of thing that happened. Of course, you will not be able to double down on that kind of donation. What you should do is look for what you are already talented in. What you have ever made any kind of money at all from. That thing now, you double down on that thing. So let's say you are selling provision. You are running a mini provision shop in front of your house. All of a sudden, now you are worth 100 million. Okay? You move out of the neighborhood, buy a new car and everything. What do? You double down on provision stores. Maybe now you become a supplier. Because experience matters in doubling your money. If you go into an area, which is a big mistake many people make, when they have some money, they go into an area that they are totally novice in. If you go into such an area, I'm sorry, you're going to lose all your money. The mistakes you would have made when you have small money, you will make it now at a bigger money and you will lose all your money. So always go into an area you're already talented in. If you're a musician, you want to go double down into music. If you have ever made money from music, all right? If you are into construction, you want to double down into construction. Whatever you have done before to make money, you double down on it without your war chest. Okay? Then you apply your number C's. Movement is by intelligence. You can't just be doing things and hoping that it will work. You don't just use your two legs to test the depth of the river. You use one leg, you test things out gradually. You pay attention, you apply sense. Gradually, you'll be able to double that money. So avoid these common mistakes that many people make all the time.